Signs you have found the one. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the You Will Be Okay podcast with me, Sabrina Bendori. Okay, so today we're talking about the signs that you have found the one, probably the most important topic of all. This is really important if you're in a relationship, not sure if this is your person, or if you're dating and just need some guidance to help you navigate and know what to look for. So today we're going to go deep into how to know if someone is right for you, if they're your person. And this is just the one thing that people get wrong so consistently. That is the one thing I've seen in the last 15 years that I've been a relationship coach, is that we get so caught up on the wrong things and we lose sight of the bigger picture. The decision of who to spend your life with is the most important decision you will ever make. It's not just about chemistry and good sex and who gives you butterflies in your stomach. I'm not saying that that's not nice. Yeah, those things are great. But that's not what sets the foundation for spending a lifetime together, for having a partnership, for having a life partner. You need to consider this is who you are spending your life with. Your life. And life is long and life is hard. This is the person that you will potentially be raising kids with. And take it from me, a mom of 4 young kids, it is hard. It is hard, hard, hard. All caps hard. This is the person you will weather the storms with. The financial storms, the child rearing storm, your parents getting older and getting sick and eventually passing away, mental health struggles, all the struggles. This is the person that you will hopefully grow old with. This is the person that will be taking care of you and that you will be taking care of. This is your partner in life, okay? It is a big decision. And honestly, why don't they teach us this in school? Why are we learning about sines and cosines and geometry proofs? Has anyone used this in their lives? I mean, maybe there's some industries where the answer is yes, but that's not what matters really in the grand scheme of things. We have to know what to look for in a life partner. I've been giving relationship advice forever, for over 15 years at this point. And the people who are the best at relationships, it's not that they're the best looking. It's not that they have the most options. It's not that they are so good at playing the game, at the chase. It's not that they know some secret that they're keeping from everyone else. Their secret is that they choose wisely. They choose partners who want the same things that they want. That's the secret. That's it. That's what it comes down to. But it's hard because we don't know what to look for. And so much of what we're carrying inside us, our old hurts, our old wounds, our past pains, get activated when we meet someone else. And so this can lead us astray. We follow our hearts, right? Isn't that what we've always been told? Follow your heart. No, that's terrible advice. That is not what we need to be doing. Your heart can have a say, it can have an opinion, but you really need to be objective. You really need to listen to your head here. First and foremost, you have to get clear on what you want. Yes, there are some objective traits that make someone the one, but everybody has their personal preferences. We all have different things that matter to us and are significant to us. So before you even start evaluating if someone is the one, you need to be crystal clear on what you're looking for. And I would also add that this requires having a certain degree of self-awareness. This is something I work through a lot with my clients, especially in my 8-week group course, because we don't know ourselves as well as we think. We really don't. That is another thing that I consistently see. We think we know ourselves, but we really don't. So number one, get to know yourself. And we'll probably have to do a whole other podcast episode on what that means and what that looks like and how to get to know yourself. So please let me know if that's something you're interested in. Okay, so you need to get to know yourself. And before you start anything, or even if you're in a relationship, okay, you have to have a list of must-haves and deal breakers. This is always step one with my clients. I always tell them to make a list of at least 3 to 5, it could be more, but it can't be less, must-haves and deal breakers. A must-have is a core value. Things like emotional availability, kindness, ambition, integrity. You also want to consider things like religion, political views, whether or not they want to have children. Some people don't care about religion. Some people don't care about politics. But for other people, this is very, very important. So if it's something that is important to you, this has to be your must-have. And you don't compromise on that. A deal breaker is something that you absolutely cannot compromise on. Things like addiction without sobriety, dishonesty, a refusal to commit, anger issues, being too critical, being too lazy. You have to really consider, what are the things that I am allergic to? Like, that's it. I mean, there is no compromise on those things. So the way to really come up with your must-haves and deal breakers is think about your past relationships or your friendships. Think about your parents. What did those people do that make you feel loved and supported? What qualities do they all share? Now think about the traits that you are allergic to, the things that make you feel unseen, unheard, devalued, drained, the things that cause a visceral reaction within you. Maybe somebody getting angry, having a quick temper, maybe being too critical, maybe being too controlling. You might think these are universal, but shockingly not. I mean, some women just don't care. I have plenty of women that I know that I'm friends with and women I've worked with who have partners that are super critical, super particular about every little thing, from like the way they load the dishwasher to how they do their hair. And they don't care. They actually are like, no, it's fine. I don't care. Other women would be like, hell no, I could never deal with that. So this is your list. This is where you make things personalized. You can also have a list of preferences. These are the things that would be nice to have, but you can live without. For example, him being over 6 feet tall. Now, a deal breaker might be a man that's shorter than you. Personally, that was my deal breaker because I'm a taller girl. I'm almost 5'8". I never, ever dated or would ever consider dating a man who was shorter than me. I just wouldn't. Other women don't care, like Zendaya, who just got engaged to, who'd she get engaged to? Tom Holland, right? Who's significantly shorter than her. She seems completely unbothered and they look adorable together. So you need to consider, okay, what are things that would just be nice to have, but I'm not going to write someone off? And this is an area where you might be surprised. You might think, oh, I can only date a guy who is older than me, but you might meet a guy who's a few years younger than you who is way more emotionally mature than the guys who are your age and older. So there are things where there's some wiggle room. This is not a hard line in the sand. You also want to consider that having too many must-haves can sometimes be a form of self-sabotage. Sometimes we have unrealistic expectations, and it's not because we're afraid of settling. I'm not telling you to settle. God forbid anybody should settle. That is not what we're saying here. But a lot of the time when we're so particular about things, it's because we're afraid. It's because we're afraid. It's because we're afraid of being hurt. And so we create this barrier and we tell ourselves, no, I want a relationship. But yet at the same time, we're afraid of it. And this is how we get ourselves into trouble. This is how we end up sabotaging relationships. Because you want to know something? You can sabotage a relationship with the right one. You can. It's just not true that, the skies will part and there will be like a shot of lightning or whatever it is that will just give you this perfect crystal clear clarity. I have seen it happen. So I almost did it in my own life with my husband, and I've seen so many other women do it too, where they almost dump these guys for such silly reasons because they're afraid. So that's another thing we really want to keep in mind. So your must-haves is not a checklist of superficial traits. If you're fixated on how tall he is or how much hair he has, but overlooking emotional availability, you're setting yourself up for failure. But you can include things, but like I said, jawline, height, these can be in your preferences. You also need to have a vision for the future, okay? You can even do this right now or when you're done listening. Close your eyes and imagine your ideal future in 5, 10, 20 years. What kind of life do you want? What does it look like? What are your core values? If you want kids, what kind of role model do you want for those kids? What kind of relationship do you want to have? What do you want your home to feel like? What is the atmosphere like? What is the vibe like? This is so important because if you don't know where you're going, it is so easy to get lost along the way and follow your heart and follow the guy that makes your stomach twist into a pretzel, even though it's usually a sign of a toxic, unhealthy dynamic. Really take some time to visualize what your home is like. And let this guide you. Okay, so if you follow me on social media, you've probably heard me talk about the 3 C's to know if a relationship is built to last. And it really comes down to 3 things, okay? Chemistry, compatibility, and commitment. Chemistry. Yeah, you need attraction. Attraction matters. But it's not enough. Chemistry cannot stand on its own. There has to be a real connection. It can't just be about infatuation. And chemistry can grow over time. Now, that's more true of women than it is of men. For men, I feel like chemistry is dominant right away. And this is where it can get a little bit tricky, because if a man feels enough chemistry for a woman, he can convince himself that they have all the other things, that this woman is the right woman for him. And this may cause him to act in a way where it seems like he's really interested and committed, but he doesn't even really know her yet. He's just kind of flying high on the chemistry. And so this is why it's on you. It's on you, the woman, to really set the pace in the beginning of a relationship. It's not always sinister. It's not always love bombing. And we will do future episodes on love bombing and narcissists and all the things. Don't worry, all of that stuff is coming. It's not that. Sometimes he is just so swept away in the intoxicating chemistry that he can't see beyond that. And he hasn't really taken a breath or taken a beat to wonder, okay, wait, is this actually someone I want to spend my life with? Because I'm treating this woman like she's the one I'm going to marry. And that might be a case where you notice that at first he was super, super into you, going full force, and then all of a sudden it just died and you dialed it back. That's usually what's happening. And women fall victim to this too. I mean, we can also fall into the chemistry trap. So watch out for the chemistry. Compatibility. This is kind of what we covered earlier with your must-haves and your deal breakers. Do your values, goals, and priorities align? You can be wildly attracted to someone, but if you don't want the same kind of life, it's not going to work. Or it will be a heavy, intense, uphill battle. And then finally, and most important of all, is commitment. Love is not just a feeling. It's not. It is a verb. It is a choice. You have to choose each other every day through the highs and lows. And a lot of people get stuck because they chase chemistry and ignore compatibility and commitment. And that's why the relationship crashes and burns. You need to have all three. You can have the chemistry and the compatibility, but if one person is not fully committed to making it work, it's not going to. Those are the situations where you have one person chasing the relationship and the other person just kind of passively along for the ride until they just end up leaving or ghosting or whatever. All right, now that we've gotten that important stuff out of the way, let's get into it, the meat and potatoes, the 10 signs that someone is the one. So if your partner checks yes to most of these boxes, then congratulations, you have found something very rare and worth holding on to, and you will probably get married. And if you do, leave a comment, let us know. We always love a good, inspiring, happily ever after story. All right, number 1, you feel safe. I feel like people throw this word around a lot, but what does that mean? What does it mean to feel safe in a relationship? It means you can be your authentic self without fear of judgment. You are not afraid they'll leave over a disagreement or a mistake. You can communicate openly, knowing that your feelings are heard and respected. You feel emotionally secure. There's no constant anxiety, no walking on eggshells, no fear that if you say the wrong thing, you're going to trip some wire and blow everything up. A truly safe relationship feels like home. That's the biggest thing. That is how you'll hear most loving couples describe it. If you ask any loving couple, go try it out. Ask them, what does it feel like? How did you know this person was the one? What was it? And they'll say, it feels like home. Unhealthy relationships feel like Hollywood. This is what one of my mentors, Jackie Glazer, says. It feels like Hollywood. You're up, you're down, you're all around. You don't know how the other person feels. There's some big obstacle to overcome. That makes for very exciting television or movies. That makes for a very exhausting life. You can't live your life like that. So for example, emotional safety is when you have a disagreement and instead of shutting down or lashing out, your partner listens and validates your feelings and works with you to find a solution. You are teammates. Remember, you are in this together. Emotional safety is not when you are constantly afraid of being too much or saying one wrong thing. One wrong move will make them leave. That is not love. That is anxiety, and it is exhausting. Okay, number 2, they bring you peace, not chaos or anxiety. You don't spend your time second guessing their feelings or where they stand. Love should feel secure and not chaotic. The right person makes your life easier, not harder. Okay, I'm going to say that again. The right person makes your life easier, not harder. That is not to say that relationships don't have their challenges. They absolutely do. But it's not a challenge where you're constantly on edge thinking that this person could just leave. It's not a challenge where they just refuse to meet your basic needs. And it's like a tug of war trying to get them to do basic things. And the right person for you will want to do these things, even if it's not necessarily in their nature, even if it's not their, love language. Maybe they don't know how to love the way that you need to feel loved. The right person for you will still listen to you and try and make an effort. The wrong person will just make your life exhausting because they'll dig their heels in and they just won't. Again, life is hard enough. It's hard enough. Your relationship should be an escape from that, not an added source of stress in your life. Number 3, they are consistent. The right person for you will not play games or give you mixed messages. They're not going to be all in one week and then nowhere to be found the next. And their actions match their words. They don't just say things like, oh, I'm so crazy about you. I could see myself spending my life with you, and then disappear or leave you on red for days or weeks at a time. They don't just disappear and bail whenever things get hard, which they will. Now, look, sometimes we need space. This is more common with men than with women, but that's okay. Sometimes people need to take space, but things need to be in a relationship, a healthy relationship. Both people need to communicate properly, need to communicate openly. They can't just take what it is they need, shut down when they need to shut down, and leave their partner feeling so unstable and so unsure. Number 4, you can just be. You don't have to shrink, edit yourself, or pretend to be someone you're not. They love you for who you are, flaws and all. I remember when I started dating my husband, this was the one thing that all of my friends pointed out to me. And obviously I've been through the ringer. I talk about it all the time on my social channel and on here. They noticed that with the other guys, I was always just trying to do something, trying to be enough, trying to win them over, trying to get them to see me in a certain way. But with my husband, they were like, you could just be. I feel like you are just you right now. And it was true. I could just be. And it's the best feeling. I remember conversely, when I was in the most toxic relationship of my entire life, I couldn't just be. I was constantly just trying to make him happy, just trying to be what he wanted. Anytime something would go awry, I would think that it was all my fault and I would overcompensate and overcorrect. And it broke me down. Okay, number 5. This is also a really important one. I think this should be on everyone's must-have list, to be honest, is that they are growth-oriented. No one is perfect. We all have flaws. And these flaws aren't black and white. Usually a person's greatest strength is a hint to their greatest weakness. And in a relationship, that person's behavior affects you and vice versa. And sometimes their less developed traits will have a negative impact on you. A growth-oriented guy or girl will want to strengthen their character and work on it. Someone who isn't growth-oriented will say that it's your problem and this is the way he is and you just need to deal with it. For example, let's say you're dating a guy who can be really insensitive at times. Maybe he doesn't give you the emotional support you need when you've had a rough day, and instead he just gives you matter-of-fact advice in a really just harsh, direct way. Now, his no-nonsense approach to solving problems might be very useful for him in the workplace, but it might be really hurtful for you when he doesn't empathize with what you're going through and instead just tells you what to do about it, or gets impatient by the fact that you're upset, or gets impatient over the fact that you're upset about something that he doesn't consider to be a big deal. Now, if a guy is growth-oriented, he will want to work on this. He'll say, okay, you can't, a zebra can't change its stripes, or right? Is that how it goes? A leopard can't change its spots. You cannot change who a person is. You can't. If somebody is just harsh and direct, which I'm that personality type for sure, you're not going to change that. And that is my strength. And that's also can be my weakness. But the right person will want to grow and will want to soften a bit. They will want to be better. Growth is it's not like training for a marathon, right? It's not like, well, okay, I'm growing and working myself, and then there's a finish line. Okay, I'm complete, I'm done. No, there's no finish line. It's a consistent practice. It's something that you have to commit to every day. It's not like, okay, I want to get in shape. I'm going to work out until I'm in shape and then I'm going to stop. No, you got to keep going. You got to maintain it. You do not want to be with an I am the way I am person. Take it or leave it. I have worked with women who are with men like that, and it is rough. It is rough. It is rough and it is lonely. I know that being single can be lonely, but I think that it is way lonelier to be in a relationship with the wrong person, with someone who can't meet your needs. It's so profoundly painful, and you don't want that. So if you can avoid that, avoid that. Number 6, they want the same things that you want. Love isn't enough. It's not enough. Alignment matters. You have to be fundamentally compatible. If you want marriage and they don't, or if you have opposing life goals, opposing anything we talked about earlier with your must-haves and deal breakers, then the relationship will be a struggle. The right person shares your core values and vision for the future. That is why it is so important to know what your values are. Number 7, they make you feel valued and they appreciate you. You never have to prove your worth to them. They recognize and cherish what you bring to a relationship, and they show their love through consistent, keyword consistent, words, actions, and efforts. If you feel like you are chasing, if you feel like you are trying to prove to someone that you are lovable, that you are enough, this is not your person. It's also a signal you need to work on your self-worth, because people with high self-worth don't get into these battles in the first place. But this is also not your person. Love is not something that you should ever have to chase. Number 8, they handle conflict with maturity. Every relationship has disagreements, but the right person for you, will approach conflict with respect and patience and a desire to resolve, not to win. When you have a conflict in a relationship, it needs to be you and your partner against the problem, not you versus them. So no silent treatments, no manipulation, no stonewalling, no blame, and absolutely no taking zero responsibility. That is also the worst. That's the same with the I am the way I am people. The I am the way I am people will never take responsibility. They will always blame you. A healthy relationship is where two people are working as a team to understand each other. It's not where two people are adversaries and trying to gain the upper hand and win. That is very unhealthy and very toxic. Number 9, you are teammates. The relationship is something more than just you and him or her. I'm trying to be inclusive here. Together, you and him are a team. And as a team, you are both individually stronger than you would ever be on your own. Your partner sees you as an equal, as someone of great value who they can grow with, not someone who is there just to feed his ego, give him validation, be his emotional crutch, be there to satisfy his needs. He respects everything about you, your thoughts, your ambitions, your opinions, the things you say, the company you keep, your job. He doesn't make you feel bad about your life circumstances, and he appreciates the person that you are and the choices you have made. Now, can someone disagree? Fine, yes. But at the same time, that can come from a place of respect, not a place of undermining you and treating you like you're a child or like you're less than or like you're not good enough. And by the way, if you are consistently drawn to partners who make you feel like you're not good enough, look back at your relationship with your primary caregivers. How did they make you feel? I imagine that they made you feel like you were not enough. And that's why you were repeating this pattern. So that's just something to be mindful of. Okay, number 10, they choose you every day. Love is not about feelings. It's a choice. The right person actively chooses to love, respect, and prioritize you every single day. They don't keep you guessing, and you don't feel like an afterthought. That's what it feels like. If you take one thing from this episode, let it be this. Self-worth comes first. When you love yourself, you stop chasing people who don't choose you. You stop making excuses for red flags. You stop settling for relationships that drain you. And when that happens, the right person will show up and you'll be ready for them. Okay? All right, that's all I have for you today. I really hope this was helpful. Let me know in comments, what is the one trait from this list that stood out to you the most? And if you found this episode helpful, please share it with someone who might need to hear it. And also, please remember, this is a brand new podcast and my YouTube channel is just being revived after being sleeping for the last like 3 years. So it would really help me out if you subscribe, if you leave a review, if you leave a comment, if you share. It would just be so helpful to me. Also, I want to hear from you. So please email me. Let me know your thoughts, your feedback, your questions, what episodes you want to hear from me. You can email me at Sabrina@SabrinaBendori.com. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next time.